welcome. This is the 16 September program meeting of the San Diego Astronomy Association. I got to tell you, the bad news to start off with is we originally had a planned Ask the Astronaut segment where we were going to have an astronaut from the San Diego area who'd been on the International Space Station, and we were going to run a presentation question and answer session with them. But they sent me a really nice, sorry we can't make it letter a little less than a week ago. And so, but they encouraged us to try again because they have unpredictable schedules. So because these are active astronauts, NASA tasks them to do things. And essentially their public appearances have to fit in around their work schedule. So, so we will reschedule that again. And, but I have another presentation tonight I will do on dark matter and dark energy. So Dave, if you'll give me my next slide. Okay, so we have a great website. You can find us by going on Google and typing in SDAA.org or SDAA. We are the first thing that pops up under a Google search. And we, of course, have a calendar where we maintain all of our events and keep our latest information. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, where we put out announcements for our various meetings. And so one thing I also want to remind you, if you're one of the newer members to our organization, the club has a service for our members where we have a loaner scope program run by Ed Rumsey. And Dave, if you would put the link to that in our chat, you can just copy that link out of the chat and paste that into any browser, and it'll take you directly to the page where we have information on scopes and borrowing scopes for multiple months so you can try out scopes. So if you don't have a scope and or for some reason your scope is down or it's being worked on or whatever, and you'd like to borrow a scope from the club, we have a project just for that in our loaner scope program. Additionally, we have a newsletter that we run every month. And Dave, if you put the link to that in the chat also, there you can just copy that link. It will take you directly to this month's newsletter, where there, amongst many other things, is an excellent article on the summer triangle corner of Altair. So it's got a lot of interesting club and astronomy content, and really nice particular article here on something that's up in the sky right now that you can go look at. So in the next slide, please. We have a merchandise store. If you'd like to get a logoed cap or jacket, although it's really warm at the moment, you know, later in the evenings and as it gets into the fall or spring or winter, you'll want to keep warm when you're outside observing at night. And so we have an online store where you can purchase our monogrammed clothing articles. And thank you, Dave just put a link up to our store in the chat, so you can copy that link, take you directly there. Of course, all these links you can also find on our webpage, SDAA.org, but you have to look a little bit more for them. And so we'll just make it easier for you by giving them right to you here. Next slide, please. Okay, here's a short video on of the Curiosity rover landing on Mars, from video taken from the landing craft. So if you'd start that video, Dave.
Thrusters have been re-enabled. We will control our attitude on shoot. We are decelerating.
Risk mode under
our
parachute
accelerated
R20
and
to
sending.
30
We are at 150 meters per second.
Dynamics phase. Come back again with risk mode dynamics.
Risk mode is nominal.
We are 9 kilometers and descending.
Leads active.
Solid range. Nest filter converged with a velocity correction of 0.7 meters a second.
We've acquired the ground with the radar.
An altitude of 8 kilometers.
Speed shield has separated. We've found the ground.
Expand tones due to Earth occultation as expected.
We're standing by to prime the Emily engines in preparation for powered flight. We're down to 90 meters per second at an altitude of 6.5 kilometers and descending.
Flight EDL, we got some tweeter warnings. It is in battle short mode, so it should power through them.
Direct for Earth communications at this time. We may have lost it already. We're down to 86 meters per second at an altitude of 4 kilometers and descending. We've lost tones from Earth at this time. This is expected. We're continuing on Odyssey telemetry.
Ground solution equals minus 10.8 meters, vertical velocity of minus
We are priming
82.8 meters per second.
start enabled, standing by for batch shell separation.
Signal to Odyssey is still strong.
We are in powered flight. We're at altitude of 1 kilometer descending, about 70 meters per second.
Signal to Odyssey remains
Down to 50 meters per second, 500 meters in altitude. Standing by for sky crane.
Constant velocity accordion nominal. Altitude error 5.9 meters.
We found a nice flat place. We're coming in ready for sky crane. Down to 10 meters per second, 40 meters altitude. Sky crane has started. Descending at about 0.75 meters per second as expected. Expecting bridle cut shortly.
Signal to Odyssey remains strong.
Tango Delta nominal.
Yeah. EDLCOM configured.
Trim you stable.
UHF telemetry.
Trim you stable.
UHF is good. Touchdown confirmed. We're safe on Mars. Time to see where our curiosity will take us. I thought that was a particularly good video because we're now a couple weeks ago, they launched the Mars Perseverance rover. And so this one is really cool. The whole video on the right coming down where you're watching it actually being taken from the rover as it descends is really kind of exciting and a different perspective that you don't get and you couldn't get in real time because some of that data can't be sent back that fast. So that was a really cool little segment. I thought I would share that with you. If you can put the next slide up for me and start the video.
Stand by, let me put away my little push button. Yeah, we're all taking pictures of everybody taking pictures.
Yeah, you want to retrieve a sample?
Garage, that's a good idea.
And Gumdrop, you'll be getting a warning on your H2 tank
Hey,
in
Rusty,
about
why don't
4
you lean
minutes.
over here again? I'd sure like to get a picture of that whole scene. Okay, coming over.
Gumdrop, you'll be getting a warning in about 4 minutes on your H2 tank. No sweat.
Those window marks are all over there. Yeah.
Gumdrop, this is Houston. You may be getting a warning on your H2 tank, no problem.
Okay, you ready for... Okay, you ready? Thermal samples here? Ready. Second, Dave, let me get around here where I can get a picture too. Okay.
Gumdrop, Houston.
All these marks all over the window. Shoot, oh dear.
Gumdrop, Houston.
Hey, Dave. Okay. Are you ready for the scene? Now use your head when you're out there. You know, this isn't a contest between you and that sample. All right.
Gumdrop, Houston. Anticipate a warning very soon on your H2 tank.
Okay, and you want to hook it in the solid ring, David, rather than that wire. Okay.
You get me 3 of them.
No problem. Okay. There's one. It didn't even close on itself. Okay, now you gotta pull this bit up, and there's one more little hook. Okay, now next one. Whoa! How about that? That's a thermal sample. Yeah, you're getting it wrapped up around your neck. Now give me. Okay.
Gumdrop, do you reach Houston?
Okay.
Gumdrop, do you read Houston?
Schweiker's heart rate 77.
It's one place that's not too hard to recognize. Yeah, that's true. Let's switch hands with the camera. Now the winds look pretty strong. A lot of clouds. Flags in there. That's right. The red, white, and blue from up here. Houston, how are you reading Red Rover here?
Roger, reading you loud and clear here, Houston. How do you read me?
Wonder why they're not talking to us.
Spider, Gumdrop, this is Houston. How do you read?
Spider, are you reading Houston? No, I haven't heard him say anything either. Houston, Spider, you read?
Raj, Spider, this is Houston.
I heard him then.
Spider, this is Houston. How do you read?
Houston, Spider, do you read?
That's affirmative, Spider. This is Houston, reading you loud and clear.
Okay, Rusty, why don't you pass the camera back in here and work on the handrails up there for just a minute. Could you stand by one? The change film packs here. Okay, here comes the camera. Hey, just a minute, let me get this other one zipped in. Yeah. Take it easy out there, I don't want you getting, okay, so oriented. Hey, Rusty? Yes, sir. Stand by. Oh, I'm not gonna start yet, I gotta pass this camera back in. Take your time. Ooh, that sun's really bright.
I wanted to include that segment because I thought that you know, so much of the stuff we see from astronauts, like even on the space station, is very polished and rehearsed and looks very smooth. And what I really liked about this segment was because it was that kind of little bit of chaos, a little bit of uncertainty about what's going on. The people couldn't hear each other sometimes, but could hear each other other times. So I thought that was kind of an interesting little segment. And so I just wanted to play that kind of throwback to the early years as Apollo 9. So that's, you know, quite a few years back. So if you could go into the next slide now, we're going to jump into the future here, or into the current days. I have a quick little segment of the takeoff of and landing of the main rocket on one of the recent SpaceX launches. Thank you. So a quick little video, really cool. When it takes off, you know, you're on the top of the rocket looking down right along the side of the rocket, and the engines are just out of sight at the bottom. And you see those little waffle looking like tennis racket fins that it uses to guide itself back down to Earth, as well as it has little jets. You saw them going pop, 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 which it uses to push itself around to orient itself properly to come back down. It's just an amazing, and they've done this over and over and over. And I think the rocket, it's a reusable rocket, and that they've actually gotten it up to, I think, the most takeoff and landings on one of their boosters is approaching like 6. So that's really impressive, because what it means is the cost of putting stuff in space goes down the more you can reuse this stuff. Then it makes all kinds of things possible that were no longer possible. So on the next slide, what you saw was what's going on today. And on the next one, they're building this ship, which is called Starship, and they're going to fly people in this, and it's designed to go to the moon or to Mars. So, but it's very early. They don't have the capsule yet installed. It's just essentially the fuel tanks and the engines. So Dave, if you can play this, they're going to do one of their early tests. They've done firing of the engines on the ground already a couple times, and now they're hopping to up to 150 meters, or like 1.5 football fields off the Earth, and then landing. So just a test to see if everything is going correct. It's a short little So there it is on the right, lower right. So in the later versions, when the capsule's installed, they plan to actually fly this into space, refuel it in orbit around the Earth, fly it to Mars, and land like they landed here on the surface of Mars, but to brake on the way down, instead of braking just with the engine, they're going to turn the rocket sideways and let the side of the rocket act as an air brake, which they will then pump fuel over the top of it to protect it from melting. It's just an amazing concept they have going here. And I think they actually plan to fly a few autonomously to Mars in advance of sending astronauts. So they'll be sitting there waiting for the astronauts if they need to return. They don't have to, so kind of as a spare already in place. So, all right, so there's that one. And so now if you'll go to the next picture. Yeah, so we have a large number of very talented amateur astronomers in our group. And so every month I tag a few of them and ask them to share with me one of their images. So this one came from Carl Weber of a nebula, and written on the side there is the technical description of what the hardware he uses for telescopes, cameras, filters, software. There's a lot of very sophisticated stuff involved, as well as how long of exposures how many and how long his exposures are in each color, because he takes multiple colors here, one on sulfur, the color of light that sulfur glows at, one that oxygen glows at, and one that hydrogen glows at. And the total camera exposure time, you can see there on the bottom, is almost 29 hours in duration. So this is incredibly beautiful picture. And even if the technical stuff is not your thing, most people can just easily enjoy the aesthetic beauty of this kind of picture taken from one of our amateurs. Also, our meeting we have called the AI-SIG meeting, which is essentially where we discuss these kind of more technical aspects of cameras and software and telescopes and things like that, is a week from today. So it's going to be, so you please come and join that meeting also. And so this is again from Carl Weber. And so Dave, if you would go to the next slide for me. Another one of our members, AC Wood, who's, I saw him earlier, so I know he's here tonight. This is a gorgeous, there we go. This is a gorgeous image of the Heart Nebula, which is located up in the northern sky, not that far off the polar regions. And AC took this picture, and again, the same kind of thing is taken with the same colors of sulfur, oxygen, and hydrogen. But each one of these people, not only are they technically astute, but they also have a certain aesthetic, artistic sense, because the choices you make in the software processing make aesthetic beauty enhancements into the imagery. So again, this very long total exposure, this one approaching 33 hours. So you can tell by that kind of time frame that these images are actually collected over a number of nights. Another beautiful one. I know we have many members out there who have many hard drives full of gorgeous data that they worked on and created pictures. And so I periodically make it my job to try to get them to share a little bit of the wonderful work that they've done. So thank you, AC, for this one. And so Dave, if you would give me the next slide. I want to make an announcement that we have a member of our association, a very young astronomer, Vivek, who has won 2 awards recently from the Astronomical League, one for his public outreach work in the Julian Dark Sky Network, and where he's come out, set up his scope, and shared his enthusiasm and love of astronomy with the public. So you don't have to be, you know, an expert with decades of experience kind of person to be able. I very much agree with the the nice messages I've seen going on. This is the kind of work we're so proud of. By the way, Vivek received a $1,000 award from the Astronomical League. Our organization, SDAA, is a member of the Astronomical League. If you'd like to learn more about it, you can talk to Dave Decker, who is our Astronomical League representative. His contact information, thank you. Yes, so and here's a link to the current, if you're in the chat, you can copy and paste. It's the current issue of the Astronomical League's publication called The Reflector. All kinds of beautiful astronomy stuff is in there. Please copy that and link and go take a look. As Astronomical League members, we're really excited about this kind of thing. And I also want to mention that the second award he got was for this image by a young astronomer. So that absolutely gorgeous picture there, you can look at that and clearly understand why that's the kind of thing that people look at and see both, you know, the fascinating world of science and just the beauty of the aesthetics of what's up there. So congratulations to Vivek, and we are very proud of you. So Dave, give me on the next slide now. And if you want to know more about the Astronomical League, find Dave Decker's contact information is on the contact page at sdaa.org. Link on the left of the front page to contacts. Scroll down, you will find his link right there. So this is tonight's Digital Door Prize. For those of you who might want to try something new in software, or don't have any software, or just getting into maybe taking pictures. So here's a wonderful piece of software that you can use to add and combine pictures from a camera and a telescope. It's free, try it out. It comes well recommended. It's used by many amateur astronomers. So here's a freebie to try out that I wanted to give you, and the link is in the chat. And so Dave, if you will then give me my final chart of the kind of normal club talk, which I will introduce what the topic is. So the topic tonight is entitled Discovering the Darkness, Dark Matter, and Dark Energy. And I subtitled it as an overly simplified tale of how we came to know that most of the universe is dark.